All right, this meeting's to discuss some ongoing work with the water plant, some damage that was deterioration that's discovered, and what we need to do to fix that.
Okay, so, alright, so we started immediate change on filter cells 1 and 4. And when we back those out, we were getting a leak through the bulkhead, and so there's bulkheads between there. If you think of this as a pie, it's a circle divided into quarters. So each filter cell is basically a pie shape. And there's an influent line that comes through those that puts the water into the cells, and where that penetrates the wall, that has deteriorated out and cracked and broke. And most of, at least visually now, the damage you see is basically from the filter bed up, which is your freeboard space in a filter, salty freeboard. So most of the damage is in there. So Peerless came out, they put 2 hatchways in, got a guy in there, welded gussets in where that is broken and repaired those. But in doing this work, we discovered there is a vent in the center of our cells. It's a pipe right in the middle. There's a hole that goes into each one. When you backwash, you lift that media bed up and air has to escape when the media bed expands. And that goes up through the detention tank, which is above it. Above all this is a 10-foot diameter, 14-foot deep tank. So this whole thing is about 22 feet tall, 10 feet in diameter. That's what sticks out of the roof. And so we have to figure out what's wrong with this vent, which means we're going to have to get into the detention tank, which means we have to install a 24-inch manway to get in there. It's the OSHA standard. Nobody's going in it without it. But to get into the detention tank, we have to take the water plant offline. There's no way we can run without the detention tank. And when we take that offline, we've got to fix whatever's wrong in there. We have to sanitize it, to do 2 back T-tests on it. So it's not going to be like an hour fix. I mean, it's going to be offline for like at least a week. So with that being said, we can't run our water plant. So Water Surplus is where we got our filter media from, and I've got a quote from them for a bypass filter. That is this single page. That's one I put a highlighter on. Okay, so that highlighted amount of their quote, because their whole estimate was $16,125. That's for a month rental. A month is the minimum you can rent it for. But the $45,350 is actually a deduct. That was just an estimate because Peerless Midwest is their dealer here in Indiana. So those costs are Peerless Midwest costs, but I have those on another page because of the other work they're doing. So that $43.50 will come off of the $16,125. So let's get it down to 11,000 some change. So what that is, I gave it to you in my last report, but there's a picture up there in the left-hand corner. So that's a skid-mounted pressure filter, and it's that unit you see plus the air compressor. So what would happen, we set that up outside the building, and we've got to change some of our piping where our raw water comes into the plant and tie this one in and run backwash line in to our drain in the building and wire it up, and that will essentially replace our filters because we still have the other 2 that we need to remove the media from. We already know there's going to be some welding in there because the penetrations are all the way through the bulkhead. But that being said, the coating in our filters are it's failing. I mean, it's 20 years old. I did some calculations the other day. I mean, our plant's pumped, 500 million gallons of water since it was built. It's been backwashed over 1,000 times. So in 20 years, it's 20 years old now. So, I mean, it's really done pretty good. And at the time, we got the best coating that was available when the plant was built. But technology has, gone farther. And I have the advanced rehabilitation quote, which they did the manholes on our current sewer project. They make a product that is specifically for NSF potable water use that they line tanks with and things. So we had to bypass the plant, get it cleaned out, get Peerless Midwest in, put the other hatchways in, repair the filters, figure out what's wrong in the detention tank with this filter, or with this vent, and then they will wet sandblast, keep the dust down, all the tanks, the 4 cells, the detention tank. Then once that's sandblasted, we can inspect it to make sure there's no other cracks or other issues in any of the welds in these tanks. If there are, we'd have to repair them, and if not, they will prime that bare metal and then do their 3-layer polyurea system. So there'd be a 60 mil coat, then they will put a filler in all the corners to radius all the sharp edges, and then do 120 mil coating over that for the final liner. We would have to reload all the media, chlorinate all 5 cells, let those soak for 24 hours, pull a back T on all 5 cells, wait 24 hours, pull another back T on all 5 cells. If they pass, then Peerless can come back. We'll put everything back into normal operation, and then we have to clean out, which we'll do it with our own vac truck. Then we've got to evacuate, clean out the pressure filters. The pressure filters are shipped empty, and just because of everything, the media that we will use in the pressure filter will be ours for that time, and then it's disposed of. They don't reuse it because you don't know what somebody else's system has in it. The unit they have reserved for us is a new unit, but it's about, the total of it's about $121,000. That's part of that, the $12,000. I put the original quote in there from Water Surplus that actually says invoice. So that $12,450.69 has been paid. And that media is on site. That's what we were paying. Yeah. So that out of this chunk has been paid. Peerless's bill, I figured at $35,000 to give us a cushion, because we don't know what else may be in there as far as welding. But that number is really closer to $30,000. Based on Tim's quotes, you see those. For the extra way, they're still charging us the same price as our original quote that they came to do. But this whole process with the timeline, with everything, everybody involved, so even when we get the new plant set up, we've got to do the same 2 back T tests, chlorination and all that to bring it online. So just getting it set up and ready to switch over is going to take like a week once it's delivered.
So it's a good thing it's a month rental.
And I talked to them because they do monthly rentals, but they said they will break that down weekly after our month at $12.50 a week. And my whole big number here is figuring on like a 5-week or a 6-week rental. I'm hoping to get it done in 5. But if there's any issues, because once the new filter is put in service, I want to run it for a day or 2 before I evacuate our 2 cells that we're running off of now, just to be absolutely sure there's going to be no issues. And then we'll do it. So, any questions?
Where are we gonna find the money for this?
These three highlighted lines.
Yeah, those, okay, so I
I
did,
was saying, Mike's coming later today to
Yeah.
verify this number. I think this number of our ARPA money from the county is pretty solid, because we had that one change order that you guys signed, that was a $17,000 and some change credit back from ART, where, you know, again, their footages were over on what was remaining for them, for their last pay draw. So, we will, just in talking to him, but Mike is bringing up all the paperwork here, so he's gonna be here at 10:30 to meet with Jennifer, but that number should be pretty solid there, the 87,552.
I did,
People won't have water at a certain time, so
Nope.
it's not gonna affect
No,
them.
no one will ever be interrupted, no service. We've got, our changeover would take about a day, and, you know, I'll make sure the tower's full. That'll give us, that would give us 2 days worth of water, even if we had some issue. I mean, the worst case scenario, we will never be out of water, but what we would have, I mean, if something totally disastrous happened, you know, we can always run raw chlorinated water down, it's raw well water, you know, I mean, no iron's been filtered out of it. Our iron's high, so I mean, there's never, even in a complete disaster, there's not gonna be a scenario where we don't have running water. It may not be safe to drink, you may not like the way it looks, or it turns your lights.
Is this a problem why the water's a little bit murky at times?
Now?
Yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah, we're running on 2 cells that are, I mean, it's worn out media. You know, I'm backwashing about every other day right now to try to keep it down, and that's why the amount of work that we have to do, I think it's better to bring in pressure filter and put bypass filters on, and we'll have 4 new filters for a month and a half while all this work's being performed.
That, you said to go ARPA money, was it?
American Rescue Plan money.
Okay, so that's something from the county or the
Well, it's
state?
grant, state, federal grant money.
Helps us pay for all this.
Yeah, it's grant money that we received. Yeah, but we still have funds available. Yeah.
But not 87,000.
Well, it's actually, there's 87 and 16, so 97, 100, about 103,000.
About 103,000 dollars.
Yeah.
Pretty close to
Nah,
that.
that's pretty close to it, because really, you take off the 121, take 12,000 off of that. So, you know, our gap is only $5,000 or $6,000 between available grant funding we have. We spent grant money on the filter media already, which Jennifer's already paid that invoice.
What's the, so
You
the
got
12
money
you
to
take,
pay for the rest of that?
the 12 you take off would be because of the filter media?
Yeah, we've already paid for it.
Sure, but then we gotta
but-
buy it again, right?
No, that's in their quote. See, the pressure filters take less media, they're smaller filters.
Okay,
In the total gigantic number I gave you, it's for absolutely everything, start to finish. It's already the work that you guys approved,
got it.
plus the additional
Got it.
work
So
that
the
needs
12
to
have already spent.
The 12
the
are-
hatchways that they've already done.
We haven't been billed for yet, but it's
Right.
it's already in the original work that was planned. That's in these numbers here. So, like I said, the media was already, it's paid for, it's here. Now, the water surplus code, the one that's got the highlighting on there, it's one of the second item that they list on that front page. The first item is the filter, then the second item is the media for those filters.
Yes.
Yeah. And they're smaller, you know, based on our average water production, I mean, we're doing about 45,000 gallons a day right now.
So you said he's gonna come in and look at this and make sure
yeah,
we can use it?
yeah, and I've called and emailed Steve Rob too, but he hasn't got back with me yet, but Mike Klein Peter will be here today to go through these numbers and make sure they're all correct.
You know, it's like the controls, I'm gonna run the plant manually, you know, the automated controls to run this filter, because our high service pumps come on when the detention tank level reaches a certain height, and that's gonna be out of play. So, I'm just gonna run the plant manually, twice a day, to keep the
Rely on tire, power height.
Yeah, I'll just run off tire height and, cycle at my normal times, just do it manually, because that's gonna save us a couple $1,000. And then, we gotta have a wall to unload and load this back on the semi, which I'm gonna bring mine out there. That's saving us like $3,700 doing that. So, I mean, and again, the work that we're doing ourselves, like we're gonna load the filter, we're gonna load the bypass filters. I'm gonna do the electrical work on it, get it wired so that it's all down the plumbing, piping and stuff for Peerless, because they're gonna furnish all that material. But big picture, and then us reloading and us backing out and everything that we're doing in-house is saving us about $65,000 if we were just strictly turning this over to Peerless and saying, do it. Yeah,
And when it's done, it'll be like brand new.
it will be. And I mean, you're gonna get, it's a 50-year warranty on that. I mean, what will be the big issue, at least it's submerged in the water all the time, is the underdrain on those. About 5 or 6 years after our plant was built, companies started doing stainless steel option. So a lot of these, when they're built now, that whole tank is stainless. To deal with corrosion and abrasion. And that's the problem. I mean, you've got all that media.
Same.
Yeah, I mean, you're basically, when we're backwashing, we're lifting that bed, it's scrubbing up and down every time we backwash in all 4 cells, and it has abraded it. Tim's coming later today with his foreman, so I'm gonna have it drained down. If any of you wanna come out and look into the 2 empty cells we have, you can get an idea of what's happening. We've already got the hatches on those, so I mean, it's easy to see what's going on. But this way, we still deliver good water, filtered water, and we address the entire thing. So, I mean, I would expect like another 40 years of life out of it, which would be 60 years at the end of that.
So what's
our last plant, the last 60 years.
this coating?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, they've used a similar process on our manholes,
Right.
our lift station and stuff. It's a pretty impressive product.
Yeah, it's, it's 400% elongation, expansion, and contraction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you're basically like, have a tank inside your tank, I guess.
Right.
But, so they offer some kind of warranty on the coating,
Well, it's the same as it's 10 years.
10 years?
50-year life, but it's 10 years unconditional.
Then what about,
Which
okay, so they're saying a 50-year life on their
No,
product.
they're saying 50-year life on the product. And, I mean, that's kind of an industry standard. I mean, even
Sure.
pipe you put in the ground, brand new pipe we just put in, they say 50 years. Yeah, it's probably gonna last longer. But that's like the industry standard for materials in our field. So,
What about, with all the abrasion over time, is there a scenario where,
for there, the liner,
can they measure thickness on this thing over time?
yeah, but they're,
Reapply a top coat or
It's-
something if needed, or?
well, they could, but I don't think you'll need it. I mean, theirs is the highest in the industry. I mean, they're the only product that passes the severe water wastewater test. I mean, I can get the abrasion numbers from them, but when we met with Tim, I mean, he said it's not gonna do anything to it. It's its own product. I mean, even like when we cleaned the lift station, I mean, stuff that was on the side just went right off.
When you got this grant money, does that affect anything else? Or did you just foresee we were gonna have to do something?
No, we knew we had to change filter media, and I mean, I gave until it was empty, we couldn't see it. I mean, we knew the potential may be there for something, but until the cells were empty, we just didn't know. I mean, it wasn't, I was really hoping that when we got it all cleaned out, everything would be fine and we would reload and go. So,
But it's a good thing we're doing it and
Yeah.
have it empty. I mean,
we knew it could be a possibility, but we're hoping that it wasn't gonna be. And then the issue with the vent, that was totally unforeseen. See, when our plant's designed, you can take half of it offline at a time. And the reason I know there's a problem, when you take half of it offline, you can just have those hatches open and they're just dry containers while you work on them. Well, when we refill, normally, we refill the detention tank and run off the other 2 filters while you're working on the other 2. Then you get those all done, you test them, you get them approved for service, then you reverse that. But what we have is water leaking back through the vents, filling the tanks. So when we're not working, like right now, I have to seal them up to keep the plant in operation, or else I'd have water, coming out of the manways. So that's how we know there's an issue with the vent, but you can't get inside the tank because the holes, the standard was way lower 20 years ago. The hole to get in those tanks are only 12 inches tall and 16 inches wide. It's an oval. It's like that big. I mean, even when we were backing them out, I mean, it's 2 people trying to work through a hole this big, because we had a wand in there that you're trying to wash everything down, and we had a back tube in there trying to we're backing all this media out. So it's like Luke and I working in a hole this big. So, the new manhook ways we have 2 installed. They're 24-inch circles. Plus they're not bolt on. They're so much nicer. The old ones are bolt on. They're from the inside. You gotta hold them up, and you gotta have somebody hold them up while you're trying to tighten these bolts down and stuff. The new ones just have wing nuts. I mean, it looks like a submarine hatch. It's a dome.
The new ones actually hinged.
Yeah, they're hinged, so you don't even have to. The other ones you gotta take the door out of it and stuff. So we still left that as an inspection port because the manways are down below the influent line, so somebody has to get in there, they can get in and out easily. So we'll have those, but once it's filled, the media is going to come up about 2/3 of the way on it, the new manways. But we'll still have the old one just as an inspection port to do inspections of the filter.
So it looks like we have some funds available. One thing I've been thinking about it is, hopefully, either this year or next, the water tower needs to be painted. It's pretty bad. So I don't know do we pay for this now and then potentially get a small bond that maybe partially pay ourselves back in the water depreciation fund and paint our water tower too.
I think we should get this done first.
Right. Yeah, no, absolutely. We need to do this soon.
Yeah,
Very soon.
right now.
But,
Because our town needs water. We all need
Yes.
water. Since he's already getting it cleaned up, and they're emptying out,
I mean, we got
it's the best time to do it.
half a broken filter right now, I guess. That's what we got. Right?
Yeah, we have half of it now in operation.
But we need it all done anyway.
Yeah.
Safe for us and our people. Water tower, we can start putting money away and do it next year. I mean, yeah, it's needs painting, but I think this is most important right now.
Yeah, I was just thinking from a financing standpoint, even if this water depreciation, if it takes a hard hit right now, could potentially partially pay ourselves back or something.
Because it was recently lined, wasn't it? So it's
Yeah, it was
the
clean.
insides.
Our tank, well, we had it inspected.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's not an issue with the line.
Okay.
Our issue is our paint mill thickness.
Mhm.
We put, we paid extra, we put Tennemic paint on that when we painted that tower, which is the best. But your mill thickness starts going down. What you don't want to get into is where you have to sandblast. I don't know if you've been
No.
around Westfield. That containment system on the tower they just did was $147,000.
Just for the tent,
Yeah, not
even the work.
sandblasting it, not repriming it, not repainting it. So I mean, you want to get, while your adhesion is still good, you want to get, you know, your new top coat on. And we've done really well for 20 years. And
Well, maybe we can look into getting a grant for that, but this needs to be done. The most important. Get it done and over with, and
but right now, I mean, they're not gonna hold it forever. That's why I wanted to get this meeting in, because they have contacted me. I have a unit reserved in the media for it. But I mean, people, they ship all over the nation, so they're not gonna set it forever. And we're not gonna keep running. As production gets higher in the summer, it's only gonna be worse for us.
right.
You know, we're not gonna run forever, too. I mean, we will, but our water quality is gonna keep going down as far as iron. I mean, not safeness of drinking it, but it's, you know, it's gonna be like well water at a house out in the country. It's got, you know, rusty toilets and everything else.
Yeah, we don't need that.
No. So,
Well, I make a motion to get this done. Hopefully we'll be able to use the rest of the grant money for that, besides other places, but this needs to be done more.
I'll second the motion to do these repairs.
All in favor?
Aye.
well, I'll get it going. I don't know when they can deliver it. I will call them back today. They'll set it up to get the unit delivered. And then that'll take about a week. Like I said, I'm trying to give ourselves some cushion time, but I'm figuring 6 weeks. And hopefully it goes quicker than that. I think it's the right thing to do. We're gonna extend the life of the plant.
So they don't know the extent of all this damage either too, right, until the remainder, whatever.
Till we get a sample
is
estimate.
there, it's
Right.
removed.
And it's not, I mean, like I said, if you guys, if any of you wanna come see it later, I'm gonna be draining that anyways to,
What time do you think?
I can do it anytime. I don't do my rounds, so I mean, we're full. It takes me about an hour to drain.
I got a meeting on this, early afternoon.
So I mean, I can, it's 9:30 now. I mean, I can have it about ready to go by 10:30, and then I can go out there and get it started.
Yeah.
Go to the sewer plant, and you can see, you can see inside of it and see what I'm talking about. Repairs where they've already worked in the 2 cells. So, I will let everybody involved know today so we can get it on their schedule. Anyway, if we can get it next week, it'll probably be the week after that, before we, by the time we got it switched over.
If Peerless, you said they're building us piping and stuff.
Yeah, they're using a
So
Tinley measure.
we can use some of what we have there.
No, we are. What we gotta do, there's a T in there where the raw water comes in, because the plant is designed, if we have to just run raw fluoridated water straight to town. I mean, if you had, like, if a tornado hit your water tower and knocked it down, or something crazy happened, or hit your water plant, I mean, there's a lot of scenarios, but it's designed to do that. So we're gonna take that part where that T is, we're gonna 90 it, and that way we can still run water to the new filters when they're done, because we're gonna have to fill those as well. And then, once the new plant is done and online, Peerless will come back
Oh, when in the switchover period.
in the switchover. They, yes, several trips for them, but then they'll come back, we've got to disconnect, turn a 90 before the high service pumps and check valve that we have, and then they pipe that in. This pipe, when you're thinking about pipe, it's flexible to some degree, but it's a high pressure suction hose, but the pieces are bolted together. They've got a 150-pound flange with a gasket, so every 10 feet, or, you know, put a gland pack on there and bolting that together. And the filter that's coming, everything on it's set up for 6-inch, everything will be running in. We'll be 6 inch. We just gotta put a reducing cone on where we come into our high service pumps. Is when we get, right before high service, it goes down to 4 inch. And it goes 4 out of the building, back to 6, then to 8. So, it's, involved in it, you know, part of this too, which is extra expense, but confined space entry, you have to have 3 people, two people outside all the time. So, you know, when the guy had to get inside the tank and weld, Peerless, they didn't just send the 3rd guy the whole time. They got the outside exterior welding done first, and the next day they sent the 3rd guy to do the entry. And with what ART's doing, I mean, it's a whole ventilation system and everything they set up.
That's the plastic in the tank.
Yeah, and they're using a wet abrasion blast, but they still, you know, got the whole oxygen in and out ventilation system thing that they set up, and you know, they gotta move that from cell to cell. And in the big tank, you don't really think about that when you're standing in there because of how far it is to the ceiling, but they're gonna have to build scaffolding in there. You know,
What'd you say, 14 feet?
it's 14 feet tall, it's 10 feet in diameter, 14 feet tall, so I mean, it's a, you know, you're thinking twice the size of the ceiling in here, so they'll have to bring, it's all breakdown scaffolding, they gotta bring that all in through that 24-inch manway as well, and construct it, and it's involved.
Mhm.
And they'll be staying locally while they're here, but Derek thinks that they plan 2 weeks to get it blasted, coated, and that could get bumped a couple days if after sandblasting there's any cracks or anything like that we see. We haven't seen them, so.
Do they perform those repairs?
The welding, Peerless does. Yeah, Peerless is gonna do all the welding, and that's in that price. That's why I raised their price up. I gave it that $5,000 cushion. I mean, if everything goes well, you know, we're gonna trim this down.
And this 2640 was the 4350. 4350.
That comes off of that quote.
That comes off of there.
Yeah.
And then we pay them 2640, right? To set up temporary.
Well, see, I set down, take up, so their whole thing is, that portion of it with, extra stuff is there. So yeah, the water surplus one will come down that 4,300. We've already got an account set up with them because of our filter media purchase. So, they'll invoice us and take that off. It's coming from Chicago, so hopefully it's there, they can do it fairly quickly. They do a process to it before they even ship it out to us. They clean the inside of them, they sanitize them, and seal them back up even before shipment.
How do we, yeah, I guess if a coating's failing, it's hard to know what's going on behind it.
Yeah, I mean, there's loose areas in there that, you know, I was getting, because I used the hydro excavation one to blast that out. There's one, cell number 1, and it was calcifying, so it was hard to get out. It was a long time to get it all sucked out. Cell 4 went a lot faster. But yeah, you can see you can push on, there's bubbles, and there's water trapped behind the coating. Which I said, you know, it was the best epoxy at the time we could get.
But none of that stuff could be seen until
Sandblast.
now.
Right, no, and even,
You do the same kind of visual.
I did, you know, that was last August when I first kind of mentioned all this to you guys, but even those holes in the bulkhead around that pipe, I mean, were not broke through, and it's kind of hard, it's hard to see because when you're back washing, I mean, iron builds up on the insides there, even though you back wash. But there weren't any leaks, because that's when we were draining down, there was water shooting through from the other 2 cells that I had left online, and I was like, oh boy. So I had to drain the entire thing. But no, the sandblasting will reveal anything. It's in there. So at least right now, unless there's I think our worst case scenario with the sandblast may be a crack. I know there's not holes because we watched it fill up and he wanted to check his welds where he patched it. And that's when we saw the water start shooting out of the vent and knew there was a problem there. So, I think if anything, when they get it all cleaned out and sandblasted and everything, that our worst case scenario is gonna be some sort of a crack that needs to be welded or a patch put over or something like that, if anything. I know there's no more direct holes.
The vents, are they pipes that run through the tank all the way to the top of the tank,
Well, maybe.
theoretically?
Because our as-built plan is not quite accurate. So some of the valving and stuff that's listed on there is wrong. And it doesn't show, the drawing doesn't show the entire vent, it only shows part of it. Because what's in there, the pipe, that, basically the water main comes up, goes into that tank, goes all the way to the top, because it goes up into the aerator and gets aerated, and it's a filter rack, so it kind of looks like shutters. So that water goes down and trickles over all these slats, and it adds extra air to the water, and then it comes into the detention tank. There's a ladder built on that detention tank, but there's a hole on top, but it's too small to enter anyways. So that's why I'm gonna put the 24-inch manway inside the building. Be easier access, be out of the weather. So
Would that be an attic?
nope, we got enough room to fit it between the filter and the ceiling. So you would enter, if you had to go in there later to do something, you would drain that down and go through the hatchway in the building. But once we start all this and get it drained, they cut a hole in there, and then we have to go inside and see what it is. But yeah, there's ladder rungs on that steel pipe going up. That's supposed to be your access point, but it's if you're this big around. I mean, I know when they coated the inside of those, I mean, the guy that went in there was little.
Yeah.
You know, when it was first built. So.
But so theoretically though, if they were pipes that went all the way up, there's a problem with a crack in them.
There could be, well, it should just only go above the water level, because we shut off at 10 feet, so you got 4 feet of headspace in there.
Yeah.
So there could be a crack in that thing, break, Tim and I couldn't figure it out, because there's something showing it coming over to where this pipe is on the drawing, but it's just not detailed enough. So we'll know, we just gotta get in there and see what it is. Yeah, so basically it's like a 2.5 inch pipe with a cap on it, welded, that sticks down right where that pie goes like this. And then there's a hole in each corner that lets air escape back up. So we gotta figure out, I mean, I don't know, if that little thing on the drawing is a check valve or something, could be a failed check valve, I just don't, the drawing's not detailed enough to know. And Tim said different manufacturers have done different things. I mean, there's some crazy ones. The welder was telling me that their pre-chlorine goes in through the tank, and they actually have lines going down through there. And he's like, you know, they got to get in there every so often to pull all that stuff out and change those lines, because ours comes in the room right into the water main. So we'll just have to get in there and see what it is. And hopefully it's nothing
Well,
too big. But that's why, because of the unknown stuff, I added the extra 5,000 to Peerless just in case. And Tim, I mean, some of his numbers, I mean, he's figured it out too, because basically they're going to charge us hourly.
Yeah.
So.
Alright.
That's it. Any other questions? I'm gonna go out there and start draining that thing down.
Any questions from you?
Have they called any of the tower companies, Andy, to get a price on what it might cost to paint this and what the
Well, I got-
EPA requirements are as far as tinning it? Did they just have to do some spot sanding or whatever?
Yeah, I got the one from McGuire Iron, which I'll probably have to update, and I was gonna call Leary, and I wanted to call Phoenix, but $79,000.
79 to
Is-
paint
is
it
the-
as is, without
is the-
any primer or out.
So yeah, no sandblasting, just
No tint.
they'll braid it, they'll do the spot repairs, 'cause there's only a couple spots.
Right.
They came out and did a whole inspection of the tower for us and gave us the price.
So approximately 79,000.
79,000,
Just
just
for a
there.
paint job and
Yeah.
spot pack repair.
Mm-hmm.
Who'd you all use in Arcadia for paint, you know?
They were, I think it's Phoenix is who we,
Well, that's who I was,
So that's who
because
you're gonna
Phoenix,
call next.
yeah, because Phoenix built this tower and they got 2 years to do it, but I don't know how long it'll take, but Phoenix is building a new tower in Arcadia.
that's,
Oh, well, they'd be right here then.
Well, I know, that's why I'm hoping, you know, maybe you can cut down some mobilization charges or something, I don't know, but I am.
unbelievable that the cost has went up like that. We painted that tower back, when it's been 10 years in Arcadia or so, and it was like 80,000-90,000, and that was sandblasting down to the bare metal, re-primer and painting and putting the logos on it. And we had some leaks and problems, and it ended up costing about 120 to do the patching, and they had to come back and sand some of it off after they painted to redo the repairs that started leaking after they got it done.
Yeah, we
But
gotta
it cost about 120 to do all that then, and now we're talking just a paint job over existing paint.
Well, McGuire told
Clean up
me
stuff and
if their price hasn't changed when he gave me the quote, McGuire's price to tint our tower is 120. If it had to be sandblasted, I mean, it's just 120 for the containment system, which we know it's not lead-based paint, but now they're required to do it when they sandblast. I mean, unless, if it's, I don't know, within so many
And
feet.
whatever we have to do to avoid getting to that point.
No, I know.
Yeah, and this tower's held up amazingly for the years it's been in the air and not having to have it repainted yet.
Yeah.
They recommend about 7 years putting another layer on, depending on the paint system you use.
It was,
I'm really impressed with this. Ours was down to the primer and everything else peeled off and everything. It was terrible when they come in to redo that tower in Arcadia.
it's
This tower's
tinemic,
held up good.
yeah, it's tinemic paint. We're starting to get a little chalking up on the very top of the
Yeah, you
tank.
can tell it's faded too, it's
But-
nice.
Yeah, but they did mill thickness measurements on it. I mean, we're still good.
Yeah.
So,
Tinting's starting to look awful. Have you ever noticed it? It's all black at the bottom and everything.
yeah, mold grows on them. We got a few spots on ours, and that's the whole thing too. You want to get around is, I mean, it will begin to deteriorate that coating where that mold grows and stays and stuff. So, well, look at it. I mean, I know it's a lot of money, but look at it this way. I mean, a new tower like that's $1.5 million now. I mean, it's like the water plant. I know this is expensive, $120,000 to spend, but it's like a $4 million plant. So, and it's our first big plant
Probably
maintenance
that,
issue.
yeah.
Everything else has just been general, you know, light maintenance and things.
I think it's great that we have Andy here doing the work he's doing. He's saving a third of the cost with the price he got on the filter media and then the electrical work he's doing and everything that he's, the vacuum after the filters and then reloading. That's a major expense, and what
Yep.
they're doing in-house is saving a ton of money. I know, like he says, it's a lot of money up front here, but this is something that has to be done, and EPA, he's under IDEM's regulations and guidelines and that type of thing, so it's something that was unforeseen until it pulled the media out of it, you didn't see interior, it was done, and
Yeah, it's a
it is
good
what
thing
it
we
is,
started doing that.
unfortunately.
And we were getting some use out of that back truck too.
Getting a lot of it out of that truck. Believe me.
Think out to
That
that.
couldn't have came in at a better time.
No kidding.
I'll tell you it has. I mean, we used it, we fixed because we did get the sewer fixed all the way at the park. Repaired it in 2 places, so
The drain in the kitchen?
that's all brand new. I mean, at some point,
What's under the floor?
yeah, what's under the floor is gonna need some attention, but the pipe into the building is all new, all the way out, so there shouldn't be any backups there.
Good deal.
We replaced between the jail and the shed. We replaced like 11 feet of it there, and got proper fallback on it. It was running backwards towards the building through there, and we put a clean out there by the corner of the jail, flush mounted clean out. So at least we have an entry point without
access.
removing toilets. Yeah, it's a double run in both directions. So just when I called, I don't know when, probably gonna be next month, if anybody asks, that they'll come back and pave our road cuts. I mean, I got the one there, the
On
two
Central.
on Central, yeah, I got the spot down by Jackson, where it's,
Corner.
yeah,
Yeah.
they can fix that, but what I'm trying to do, unless you guys just want me to bring them in, is when they're anywhere near us, Justin says he'll send a couple guys, I mean, it'll probably gonna save us a couple $1,000. Yeah, so that's kind of what but I told him, I said, it absolutely has to be done before festival, so he said they'll get it worked in when they're anywhere near us. He'll send a couple guys to do it.
Well, Andy, I want to say thank you for the work you do and always trying to save our town money to get things done correctly. And
Thank you.
I know people don't always say that, but it needs to be noticed.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Sad part about his job is people don't know what all's involved because they don't do it or has never been involved with the details and the type of things that actually go on day-to-day activity.
And they don't come here to
people
see
say
what's
it.
going on.
If you don't do anything, he works for a couple hours a day, he only got a couple hours a day worth of work to do.
Well, let me tell you, we had a problem with our chlorine system last night. I worked till 8 o'clock to get it fixed out,
That
figured
goes
out.
unseen, and of
I had to
course,
go to Lowe's and get
somebody
parts.
sees the truck around town or whatever, so he ain't doing anything.
Right.
Yet their water's got chlorine and everything's still up to par and the pumps are running. So I say it's.
Our water is safe for us to drink and our toilets flush and
Well, you know, just like this whole project here, Andy could have said hell with it and not even brought it up. You guys went ahead and put the sand filter back together and you're gonna get worse quality water. You get backwash and everything, but it still wouldn't keep the iron out as well as it should, as designed. If he had just went ahead and backfilled and said, I'm not messing with it, now you brought it up. You know, and
I only
he
have
does his job
used so
doing it
much
properly to fix what
cider to
needs to
clean my
be,
coffee
what's
with.
broke.
Yeah. No, it's gonna be, our new filter meat is gonna be really good. I mean,
But thank you.
I'm excited. Thank you, I appreciate that.
Is there a motion to adjourn this meeting?
I'll move we adjourn this meeting.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.